Ooh-wee, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I am Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a post-fight show for Matt Brown versus Eric Silva, and also a pre-fight show for UFC 173, Burrell versus Dillashaw, and also somewhat of a post-fight for Bellator 120 on the side. Yeah, so let's get started. We got a lot to talk about. So let's start off with the post-fight recap of Matt Brown versus Eric Silva. Let's start off with the main event and go over every main card match. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, so Matt Brown versus Eric Silva, wow. Everyone kept saying, man, that's one of the greatest first rounds in MMA history. But I think the whole match was amazing. I mean, from start to finish, yeah, it ended pretty much midway into round 3. Matt Brown won by TKO punches, and it was a back and forth brawl and technical MMA fight in the first round where there was grappling, there's takedowns, there was reversals, there was good strikes on both sides, and yeah, Matt Brown, he was able to definitely win round 2 and then finish him off in round 3, and I knew Eric Silva's cardio and his chin would be the issue here, so good job, Matt Brown. Eric Silva's a great fighter. I'm sure he's a great guy. I'd like to see more of him in the UFC. I'm sure we will. So, yeah, that pretty much sums up the main event. Then the co-main event, and that was a welterweight, 5-round welterweight bout, by the way, in the UFC. Then the co-main event was middleweight bout with Costas Philippou and Lawrence Larkin. Yeah, it was a quick fight. Costas Philippou won by KO punch, round 1. It ended quickly. It was a great fight. Good job, Costas. I'm a big fan of him. And then in the lightweight division, we had Darren Cruikshank versus Eric Koch. Everyone was shocked by this because Darren Cruikshank was a big underdog. Eric Koch was well hyped up for this match, and he had a lot of momentum going into this match. And yeah, Darren Cruikshank won. It was TKO head kick and punches round 1. There were some good strikes landed on both sides. Went back and forth for a moment. Then yeah, just over halfway into the first round, Darren lands that kick and gets those punches, and that ends that fight. And it was a great, exciting, explosive fight, though. I'm a big fan of Eric Koch. I don't mind Darren Cruikshank either. He's a great guy. Met him in Vegas a while back. Then, also on the main card, we had a welterweight clash with Neil Magny and Tim Means. Yeah, Neil Magny, he won this fight, decision unanimous. Looks like, yeah, 2 of the judges had it 29-28 for Magny, and then the third one had it 30-27 for Magny. I like Neil Magny. You know, he's a military veteran, seems like a likable guy. I was rooting for him in this fight, and I think he's starting to realize his potential now, and he's really mixing things up and learning how to use his reach, and he's looking good in the welterweight division right now. Yeah, that fight was pretty much Neil Magny landing more per round on strikes. And Tim Means is a beast. He's not an easy opponent. He's definitely, at least, well, I wouldn't say top 5 or anything, but you know, he's definitely up there in the UFC welterweight division. And I'm sure Tim Means will be back. So then also on the main card we had a heavyweight clash with Soa Paleli and Ruan Potts. Yeah, Soa Paleli, he shocked everyone with his KO punches. He got top position, got him up against the cage, and knocked him out in top position. That was pretty impressive. And yeah, so Paleli, he finished that pretty quick. It was barely midway into the first round. So Yeah, Solo, you know, he's been finishing people off left and right in the UFC since his return. He finished Pat Barry and this guy, and he's just, he's looked good. You know, it's great to see him back in the UFC. I think they made a great choice, obviously, being on this big win streak of his. I believe it's 3 fights. Yeah, so good job, Solo Paleli. I say give him a top 15 guy at this point and see where he goes from there. Then in the flyweight division to kick off the main card, we had Chris Carriasso versus Luis Smolka. Yeah, this was decision split. I could see how Chris Carriasso won this fight. Luis Smolka may have won a round, if that. And there was another round where it was close, and there was another round where it was clearly Chris Carriasso. I want to say it was round 3 that was clearly Chris Carriasso. Chris Carriasso is one of those guys. He's a heavily talented flyweight, well-rounded, knows how to mix it up. And Luis Smolka, he had the height and reach advantage, but Chris Carriasso was able to shut that down, and it was pretty impressive. And yeah, Chris Carriasso definitely needs to fight top 15 guy now for sure in his next match, and see where that takes him. And the flyweight division is not looking too bad right now. We got Ali Bogdanov versus Demetrius Johnson for the flyweight title coming up. That'll be exciting. Yeah, so that wraps up the post-fight section of my show for the main card of Brown vs. Silva on UFC on Fox Sports 1. Then, I'd like to congratulate Tito Ortiz for winning over Alexander Shlemenko at Bellator 120, and then Rampage Jackson getting the victory over King Mo at Bellator 120 as well. And then, yeah, the big pay-per-view match, UFC 173, Brow vs. Dillashaw is coming up, and I got Hannah Brow winning by flashy knockout. It's going to be insane. Then I got Dan Henderson and Daniel Cormier as a coin toss. Leaning towards Daniel Cormier winning this fight ultimately because his speed, and he has better wrestling than Dan Henderson. But I think Dan Henderson can stuff takedowns for a while. And then, yeah, there's some good matches on that card. So, those are a couple of my predictions for the pay-per-view coming up. And that wraps up my post-fight show for Brown vs. Silva. And until then, see ya!